Sawyer, the author of the Oxford Illustrated History of the Vikings, in his overview of Viking history and culture, writes, "The Vikings were not just raiders and conquerors, they were also traders, explorers, and settlers. They made significant contributions to the development of European society, leaving a lasting legacy in the languages, laws, and customs of many countries." Today, the Vikings continue to fascinate and inspire. Their stories are told and retold in books, films, and television shows. Their culture is celebrated in museums and festivals around the world. The legacy of the Vikings, once feared and reviled, is now recognized as an integral part of our shared human heritage, especially in Northern Europe. The raid on Lindisfarne in 793 AD sent shockwaves through the Christian world, exposing the vulnerability of the Anglo-Saxon kingdom to a new and terrifying threat. The Vikings, with their swift longships and fierce warriors, had breached the defenses of a kingdom that had long considered itself secure and safe. But how did the Anglo-Saxons respond to this unprecedented challenge? Did they crumble in the face of this aggression, or did they find ways to adapt and resist? In the immediate aftermath of the Lindisfarne raid, the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were ill-prepared to mount a unified defense. England was divided into several independent kingdoms: Northumbria, Mercia, East Anglia, Wessex, Kent, and others, often engaged in conflicts with each other. This political fragmentation hampered their ability to respond effectively to the Viking threat. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, in its entry for 793 AD, laments the lack of unity among the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. This year, dire forewarnings came over the land of Northumbrians and miserably terrified the people. And the same year, the ravaging of heathen men lamentably destroyed God's church at Lindisfarne with plunder and slaughter. The Chronicle goes on to describe the internal conflicts and power struggles that plagued Northumbria and other kingdoms, hindering their ability to respond to the Viking threat. James Campbell, a leading historian of Anglo-Saxon England, writes in The Anglo-Saxons, "The political landscape of 8th century England was fragmented and unstable. The various kingdoms were often engaged in conflict with each other, vying for power and territory. This lack of unity made them vulnerable to external threats, such as the Viking raids,